In order to use the stats calculator in this section, we just need to know how to do combinations, permutations, and factorials. Now, if you have a problem involving the fundamental counting principle, clearly that's something that you would need to be able to do, but that's just involving multiplication and exponents, which we've talked about already, so you should be pretty clear on that. So we'll start with factorial. That's the easiest. Now, if you'll notice, there's actually buttons on this calculate screen for each one of these, so you don't have to remember the name of the functions or anything. But factorial is actually kind of pointless because you don't need the name of a function. You literally just type in the exclamation point. So if you want 9 factorial, just do 9 and then shift 1. When you hit calculate, it will come up with the answer. If you need to do operations with those, that's fine too. It can do operations within factorials, no problem. One thing to know is that if you get a value that's too large, the operation will give you scientific notation as output rather than standard decimal notation. So here, the answer to 25 factorial is not 1.551, clearly. That's not even an integer. But that e plus 25 at the end means that this is scientific notation. So there's actually like 26 digits in the final answer, but it just doesn't have enough space to show it all. So it switches to scientific notation, which is something that you might run into, and it's good to know that's a possibility. Now, for combinations and permutations, on the calculator, you saw where you had functions like NCR, NPR, but that's not the way that we do that in the stats calculator. You simply just have functions with 2 inputs. So like if I do a permutation, for instance, you have a function with 2 inputs. The first is n and the second is r. And you just separate those inputs by commas. So for instance, if you have a problem that has, say, like 23 objects in a group, and you want to pick 5 objects at a time out of that group, then the number of permutations of 23 objects taken 5 at a time is this right here. And it calculates that based off of the same function that's in your textbook using factorials, and there's no need for you to know that function, have it written down, and try and do these by hand. Just let the calculator do them for you. Similarly, if you want to do combinations, just hit the combination button. It'll insert the function you need for combinations, and then the same inputs apply. So n goes first, and then comma the value of r. So 23 objects taken 5 at a time using combinations. There's your answer right there. And that's how we do it on the stats calculator.